All right, well, hello. This is Nathan Kline. I'm tonight interviewing Kelley Dragoo, who is the Green Party candidate for Missouri Lieutenant Governor here in 2020. Thank you very much, Kelley, for agreeing to do an interview this evening.
I'm happy to be here.
I'm just going to start shooting some questions at you.
All right.
Let's get going. First question. What got you interested in politics, and why did you decide to join the Green Party and run as a Green Party candidate?
Okay. So I think I've always been interested in politics, and I think that it kind of makes a lot of sense for me to run as a Green when you recognize that the first two jobs I ever wanted were to be the president and to be an oceanographer. I basically have spent my whole life interested in public service. I really like helping people, as well as the environment and conservation and sustainability. I think it's very natural. I grew up in a time, where the environment and our effect on the environment has always been in the forefront of the scientific conversation. In the 90s, it was soil erosion and acid rain. In the early 2000s, it was global warming and the hole in the ozone. And when I got into college, I really started engaging with advocating for more sustainable, ecologically friendly practices. I, had been working with 350.org in college, recognizing that the parts per million of carbon in the atmosphere's tipping point is 350 parts per million. And even in 2011, 2012, when I was working with that organization, we were already past that point. So really what brought me to the Greens was their ecological wisdom platform, recognizing that we need to be handling the environment as a finite resource. And that's really what brought me to the Greens. And what kept me here at the Greens is that we are both a political and activist organization. I definitely lean on the side of the activists. It's important for us to be advocating and to be educating, the citizens at large about what sustainable practices look like and what that means going forward for us as a culture, as a society. I will tell you that the reason I'm running is because it was time for me to step up into this position. I hit 30 years and was like, you know what, why am I putting this off? This is something that I think I would be good at. I have some good ideas and I have the support of people around me. And the Green Party needed me to do it. So I said yes, I answered the call. And that's really why I'm running. It's because civic service is so deeply ingrained in my blood. I was raised by Marines, and so this really intense sense of patriotism is something that I identify with so strongly. And I want to be able to give back to my community, to my state, my country, in this very particular way.
That I think is a great answer. Very inspiring, to me at least. I'm sure to others. So, related to that, what personal experiences in your life have best prepared you to succeed in the office that you are running for?
Yeah. So the lieutenant governorship is a really interesting position because it doesn't have a lot of constitutionally defined jobs. It basically is in charge of, stepping in when the governor can't, or if they become incapacitated. And then it presides over the Senate. So it's a really interesting sort of blending, go-between, like liaisonship of the executive and the legislative branch. They also preside over quite a few committees and councils. And so I think what really prepares me for this, and what I think is going to be so vital in doing this job well, is that I'm really good at having a working knowledge and being educated in a wide variety of topics. I definitely think that that's one of my strengths, is that I'm good at knowing a lot about a lot of things. And the lieutenant governorship, they need to know what is, what bills are being brought forth in the legislature. They need to know what's on the governor's agenda, and they need to be able to bridge the gap between the two of them. I definitely am no stranger to people being a little hesitant about what I personally bring to the table as a queer person. And so I've kind of had to live my life in a manner that bridges the gap between things, that is the go-between, and is kind of the person who's willing to make a compromise for, the greater good, for the benefit of everybody. So I think that is really something that I bring to the table. I'm also an efficient and an effective communicator, which is, again, a very important job when you are the person who is between the executive branch and the legislative branch. You have to be able to talk to everybody. You have to meet them where they're at. And you have to be able to get things done in a timely manner and in an intentional manner. And that's really what I bring to the table in this position, and what some of my strengths are. And I really look forward to talking with people more about this, because I think it's such an interesting kind of underutilized position in our government. Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, I actually learned some stuff about the position from your answer, so that's pretty cool.
I know what I'm getting myself into.
Yeah. Well, let's kind of shift to a little bit in the questions here. If you had to pick one subject that is the most important focus of your campaign, what is it? Why is it so important? And what is your approach to addressing this subject once you're in office?
Yes. So I think the most important thing to me right now is labor's rights and workers' rights. I think we as a society in this capitalist structure have systematically devalued the rights of workers. Since the 70s with the fall of big unions. And I think that kind of goes hand in hand with the idea that people who are selling their labor need to be cared for. We've switched from kind of a manufacturing-based culture, society, to a more labor-based, service-based society. And we're paying people just penitence. We're paying people scraps. The idea that someone can live on minimum wage and get by without any benefits, no health care, no child care, no providing for their future in the form of pensions or 401k. There's no educational stipends. There's nothing that businesses are giving their workers to incentivize working. And I think that really is it's so important to me, because I believe in caring for humans at a fundamental level. We have to charge ourselves and charge the businesses who are going to be setting up shop in Missouri with caring for Missourians. And if you don't want to care for Missourians, then you don't get the honor of working in this state. And it really should be as simple as that. I want to do this through legislation. Obviously, we need to be incentivizing these things with businesses. I do think that healthcare is something that the government needs to be taking care of, so that businesses don't have to worry about that. And so we really need to be caring for the individual citizen, the individual Missourian, and we need to be doing that through some really substantial benefits, and then a thriving wage. Because again, minimum wage is nothing. We've raised the minimum wage here in Missouri to $12 in 2023, and by 2023, who even knows what the economy is going to look like? And $12 is not very much. It's not a living wage. And so we really need to step up in our care of our workers. So that's kind of my big platform and my big push for. So
I couldn't argue with that. I agree with that 100%. For
Yes.
sure. Great.
We gotta care for the people. We gotta feed the people.
That's right. So shifting to another subject that I know you care about, what is your analysis of the global climate crisis, and what do you see as the best way forward to address this emergency?
Yeah, so it is a climate crisis. I don't know if we can say that loud enough. You know, the scientists have already agreed on that and have been in agreement for a while. As I said before, you know, in 2012, I was working on you know, I was working with 350.org, and we were already past that 350 parts per million carbon in the atmosphere in 2012, and we've done nothing to slow that. Working within the confines of capitalism, because I do feel like capitalism has commodified our natural resources and is you know, living in this exponential growth model that is just completely unsustainable and completely destroying our planet, the place that we live, the place we have to endure. So working within the confines of capitalism, I will say that I am very pro carbon tax. I think it is a very solid punch in the wallet to those who would seek to, you know, take advantage of our environment and our people. Carbon tax, boy howdy, how do we not have this already? I think hitting people in their wallets is where it hurts. I think a next step is to incentivize through, you know, through less taxes, fewer taxes on businesses who are willing to transition to renewable, cleaner, greener energies. We have the knowledge to implement these things, and we're not incentivizing it. The government is not incentivizing that in any way. In addition, we as the government, and I'm speaking, you know, if I was elected, the government needs to be putting their best foot forward on this. We need to be switching all government buildings to renewable energies quickly, like yesterday. And we need to be, you know, be the future that we wish to see. We're living in an unprecedented time of climate change, and we have to do something, and we need to do something quickly. And I think that kind of falls back on a couple of my strengths, being efficient and effective. Because I think a lot of the bureaucracy that we're getting hung up on and the corporate domination of our political system is really just completely hindering us from our future in a lot of ways. And we need to be thinking about 5 years from now and 10 years from now and what that looks like, because I think people get really caught up in the change that it's going to bring to our world. Most things won't change. We just won't be burning fossil fuels. It's actually pretty easy. We just need to be investing in this. So. Climate change.
Yeah. You kind of, you know, the next question just feeds right into what you were saying. I mean, you know, really kind of sniffed it out. But our current growth-based capitalist economy, as you were saying, not only threatens a habitable planet for our future, but it has utterly failed to provide our communities with sufficient access to resources in areas such as healthcare, education, and housing. Please give us your analysis of this economic system and how an eco-socialist Green Party alternative would function differently to address these and other shortcomings.
Capitalism just makes me shake my head these days. What we've done through capitalism is funneled and condensed the wealth of this country into the hands of the few. We have completely removed the average citizen's ability to kind of do for themselves in a lot of ways. And I think that that's really what the eco-socialist platform is more about. It's about understanding that everyone has a baseline of needs. We need to meet these needs. And then people will be more free to pursue the things that they need to pursue. It has a lot to do with more local control of capital and means. Capital being money, means being the land that something would be built on, the machinery that it would be necessary to build it. An eco-socialist world is a world where you could petition your city government. You could apply for a small business loan from your city government saying, hey, I see this need. I would like to fill it. Here's my plan. And then your government, your local government, your city government would be able to help you and give you the means to pursue this. It also looks like cooperative, locally owned cooperative. If you are, an eco-socialist world looks like you paying your electric bill to your neighborhood co-op that runs the electric company. And I think a lot of people, again, are a little nervous about this idea of eco-socialism. What does that mean? It's not saying that you aren't going to be, it's the opposite of not being able to do for yourself, because you won't need more than what you have already been given. Eco-socialism takes the capital and takes the mean from the hands of the few and gives it to the many. And that's what we need right now. I'm not an economist, but I read a couple books, and capitalism is just draining the wealth from, the bottom 90% of the country. And it's just unacceptable, and people should be offended by it. We should be offended that Jeff Bezos has so much money. We have a minimum wage, but we don't have a maximum wage. And maybe that's something that we need to talk about. Maybe nobody should get to have more than, $999,999,999. Boom, everything else funnels back into the community. And that's what eco-socialism is.
I love it. I love it. Given that there is currently a hostile corporate chokehold on our government, though, how do you plan to be successful in this environment and expand people's power in elected office? What is Kelley Dragoo as lieutenant governor? How does she change the calculus up there in Jeff City?
Well, she probably gets pretty pushy and she throws some elbows, maybe. I definitely have a strong side to me, and I don't take no for an answer sometimes. I've been known to just bulldoze things. There are some things that need to be done that the powers that be in Jefferson City are not going to like and are not going to lean into. I think anyone coming into into public service, into the political arena, needs to check their ego at the door. As a lieutenant governor, it wouldn't be about Kelley Dragoo. It would be about the Missourians, those who voted for me and those who didn't. It cannot continue that corporate interests have a larger say in what happens in this state than the people that live in this state. And I would do that through being kind and being loving, but sometimes it's a tough love. And I am not afraid to tell people to check themselves. So maybe we'll just leave it there.
I'm excited about the opportunity to see you do that. I'm definitely voting.
A little bit
definitely voting. Yeah, I have to see this. In our current political environment, the majority of eligible voters are unfortunately disengaged and no longer believe that electoral politics offers solutions to the challenges we face. How does your campaign and the Green Party in general overcome this cynicism and pessimism to build the movement that can bring the real change that we need?
I think the current COVID-19 political, social situation has really showcased in a very poignant way just how much the government does not care about the average citizen. That the powers that be and the politicians that are running this country, running this state, don't care about the well-being of the people. And I think this particular time, people are really starting to wake up from that illusion that they've been kind of living in. And they're really actively seeing just how, you know, big of a hole we've dug for ourselves. And I think the Green Party, in so many ways, reacts to that pessimism and that cynicism with optimism and idealism. I often refer to myself as an idealist with optimism as my fallback plan. And I definitely think that stepping into politics will change the way that I see things. But I think that understanding that no matter how hard it is, that we're fighting for what is right and good and for the people. Like, we are grassroots at its finest. We work harder and we care about our neighbor. It's not about just doing for ourselves. It's about doing for others. It's about taking care of everybody. And so I think that the Green Party is really positioned in a very good place to show people that that we're not backing down. We know what is right. We are willing, and it's written into our DNA, to give the people what they're asking for. Because everywhere, people are just asking for things and being told no time and time again by their government. And it is not the government's job to tell the people no. It's the government's job to take care and to give to the people of this country and of this state. Missouri's motto is, let the welfare of the people be the supreme law. Let me say that again. Let the welfare of the people be the supreme law. And that is something that I really feel very strongly about in this state and in this country. And I think if we brought a little bit more of that to the political process, the political arena, that the world would be just a much better place for everybody. Vote Green understands that we're here for you, not for us.
Yep. And
Yeah.
yes. So with all of that, I know people are going to want to know how they're going to be able to plug into what you're doing. So how can folks be interested in hearing more and helping out? And that's important. Volunteer-based movement here. How can they help your campaign and get connected?
Yeah. So right now, the best way is to find us on Facebook. That is where I put out all of my calls for volunteers, where I will in the future. It will give you more information on my platform. It will give you the ability to donate to me, because while we are an anti-capitalist organization, we still have to work within the confines of capitalism. And I would love your $5 donation. In addition to that, I think the most important thing is if people like what I'm saying, if you like what I'm saying, talk to your friends about it. Talk to your family about it. Talk to people. Talk to your neighbor. I'm relying on you. I'm just one person. So I can't do this all by myself. Volunteers are my life's blood. They are my heartbeat. And no one ever said that I'm ungrateful. So if you are interested, find us on Facebook, like it, share it, talk to your friends, talk to your family, and help spread the word. And vote Green.
That's right. Vote Kelley Dragoo for Lieutenant Governor of Missouri in 2020.
Yes.